is it suppressed or is it processed? Because the thing is, what I'm trying to
difficult.
figure out, and we'll keep it on failure. We're talking about failure because sometimes we experience, but falling short. Do we stop ourselves from kind of caving into the feeling that we're failing by suppressing it, or do we have a process to get over failure? And is it is there a healthy version to get over the idea of failure?
I think it's all relative to the person. Like
Right.
for me, I could look at it as suppressing, and I could look at it as a healthy way.
Right.
Like it's difficult for me to like kind of say, okay, well, which one is it?
Right.
Well, it's like, what's the result? The result is I don't have a bad day,
Right.
which is what I'm focused on. So I think if it's really difficult, I'll think about it. If it's not difficult, I'll be like, "Well, so what? It's
Yeah.
a podcast.
Right.
I don't know, but I don't know if that's for suppressing in a healthy way or if that's dealing with it. If it's suppressing in a bad way or dealing with it in a good way,
Right. Do you think you'll think about it later?
probably not.
Okay.
Because what it is for me is every day is a new start.
Right.
So it's like I'll wake up tomorrow. What's there is there, like body podcast. It's there, but what happened yesterday is no longer there.
Right.
I don't forget about it,
Yeah.
but the bad things I just remove out of my head. It's almost like I just
Yeah.
Wow.
throw it
That's
away.
impressive.
The eternal
Yeah.
sunshine of a spotless mind.
I have trouble with that though. I can't
What's
do that.
Like it stays.
It stays.
just
It
revolves.
lingers
Wow.
like a stank.
Yeah.
What-
It stays.
why do you
Do you
think?
ruminate on it?
Yeah, because I try to think of what if I could do this, what if I could do
Right.
that. Like, oh man,
Okay.
if I did this, if I did that, if I could do this, I could have prevented that. And then I start circling back, and it can get into a spiral, like I mentioned before. I
So
go into that
interesting.
nest,
Yeah.
and I become like a little sneako.
So do you think you do that so you don't go into that nest?
Do what? Like,
Positive.
Yeah.
Like, do you jump out, look at the silver lining, so that you don't go into that schmeagle?
correct.
Do you think that if you didn't do that, you would automatically go into that schmeagle?
Probably.
So it's a natural place to go to, but you're just like, hell no, I don't want to go there.
Hell no, I hate it.
Right.
It's
But
freaking-
it's easy to get there.
Totally easy.
Why?
Well, kind of like tying into what you said, you were like,
Yeah.
what you talk about the what ifs,
Yeah, yeah.
and
yeah,
in just
yeah.
in my opinion, I think that's a huge one.
Right.
That's what makes you think about the problem some more.
Yeah.
Do you think it's the what ifs?
It's a what ifs because you feel like, for me, I feel like I'm not in control of the what ifs. Like life happens and things happen in certain situations, and people say handle a failure, like look at the failure and work harder, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be times where I'll be confident and I'll feel good
Right.
and I'll be able to handle a situation,
Right.
and I'll move forward. There'll be times where I feel like the world's out to get me, things are not working out. I feel like a complete failure,
Yeah.
Right.
and I'll kind of just like seclude myself. I'll be alone,
Yeah.
journaling, feeling my feelings, trying to figure out what I could do to resolve the situation.
Gotcha.
So I'm looking for resolve.
Gotcha.
During the nest area, like I'm
Right.
kind of in my nest. I'm not like sitting there all depressed and hopeless. I'm trying to find out what can I do to fix the situation. How
Right.
can I resolve this
Gotcha.
matter?
Gotcha.
That's what I would say. I seclude myself is to figure out what I can do
Right.
to fix it.
That's awesome.
Which
man.
makes sense.
Yeah.
What about you, Burke? What do you do?
Yeah.
I want to ask you a couple questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
One, what do you do when you obviously approach a failure?
Right.
And two, do you think it's probably a rhetorical question? Do you think you're doing it in a healthy way?
Right.
If you do think of it a healthy way, what did you do before that wasn't healthy?
Yeah.
Do.
Do you do?
What do you do, buddy?
do.
What do you do, buddy?
Okay, I think that it's tough. Okay. Obviously, everything is situational and contextual, right? So there's times when certain things hit,
Yeah.
a chord that's like, this one ties to some core belief I have about myself. I'm not so much. Okay, let me take a second. Am I the silver lining type of guy? Yes, to a certain extent I am, right? I look for the positive. But I also understand that the failure has a story. I've gone through failures enough to know that if it wasn't for those failures, I wouldn't have become who I was.
True.
huge.
Right?
That I know
I was a
for sure.
musician, singer, songwriter, everything was music. I lost my voice. I got a callus in my vocal
Yeah.
cords. I couldn't sing. I was depressed, right? But from that, I ended up going back to school, showing up at Berkeley, getting highest honors on research that I really care about, which is internal motivation, trying to see what makes people change and behave differently towards their good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done that if I didn't lose my voice. So my story has been written that failure produces opportunity, right? And so it's not that failure, you need to fail to get to the good. It's that the failure is the building to the good. So because of my narrative, it's easier to experience failure, right?
Gotcha.
Because I'm not married to a single idea. Before I was married to music, it was music. And when I lost music, I lost me. And I think something that's really cool, like it's something good to think about. The more identities we have, the less affected we are by the loss of an identity, right? If I'm a swimmer, a dancer, an engineer, a father, right? If I lose something in swimming, it's not a big deal, right? You do calisthenics,
You're right.
If all you did was calisthenics, then your Instagram was all calisthenics, and that's all that you are. If you had an injury, a debilitating injury, God forbid, you're gone.
Yeah.
In your mind, you're gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But the more identities you have, the more powerful, right?
True.
And so even the work that I do is how do you get people to see that they are multiple existences, right? You show up in different ways. I say it's like a light through a prism. There's a rainbow of different personalities that we have. But for me, when I was music, I was just music, red, right? So when red went out, I didn't see any other colors. So I think for me, I understand the narrative that I'm more than just one thing. That makes it easier.
Yeah.
To come off
I'm
the
more
failure.
than just one thing. That makes it
I
easier.
see.
So the more that we can relate to our other identities, the less the loss of an identity has
Yeah,
an
you're
effect.
right. If I think about that, it makes sense to me now.
Right?
How did you? Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
How did you feel when you first experienced your first failure, which I'm guessing is music? That was the biggest, like, boop.
Right. And I'll dance with that word failure. It's a
Okay.
different word for me.
Okay.
But I get that. And
How did you
When I
feel?
say it's music, I don't know if it was music because I had a tanning business that went to crap, right? Yeah, tanning. It was funny. It's called Mocha Express Tanning. And I was the after picture. Like we just played with it and it went really well, but it went to crap. But the way that I prepared for the failure, and this is what my whole program involves this. There was a book that I was reading. I cannot for the life of me remember what book it was. But it says, okay, you're about to start this new endeavor. What is worst case scenario? What could happen worst case scenario, barring death or sickness, disease, something like that? Okay, all of a sudden, for me, it would be my mentor is like closed, it's done, it's not happening. I lose the relationship or something like that, and I lose money or something. And he goes, okay, once you've achieved that space, what would you do to get out of it? And so I wrote the story of how I would get back to just neutral. Once I wrote that,
Wow.
the effect of it, because it happened, I remember where I was standing in Aliso Viejo in the kitchen. My mentor, one of his clients didn't get the tan that was supposed to happen. One of my employees wasn't there. And he's like, it's done. It's closed. It's over. And I hung up the phone, and I was sitting there. And it was funny because I knew where my spirit would have been had I not prepared for that.
Yeah.
It would have been like, I am a failure.
Yeah.
Versus, I dropped the ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as soon as it happened, guess what popped into my mind? I have my escape plan. How to get up, how to get
Gotcha.
through.
Wow.
Right?
planned
And so I
ahead.
did everything that I had in my steps. I then put a partner on, had a re-grand opening, and then ended up selling it to them.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Planned it before.
So you prepare for failure. That's what I do with all my clients. In the program, you prepare because you understand that the failure is a requirement for your evolution. You must fail. And I set in my program, whether it's with a group or with individuals, I set people up to experience failure in a controlled environment. And then from there, they can see themselves climb out.
Wow.
So you would say that case by case scenario, preparing for failures, looking at the worst case scenario,
Right.
But ideally, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And how to get out of it.
And how to get out.
And how to get out of it. Because the thing is, the problem is, this is what's so interesting. The problem is that we're sideswiped by failure.
Yes.
So when it hits us, all of a sudden we're like, I'm a failure. We identify with failure, not the mistake. I am the mistake.
Gotcha.
Right? We identify too heavily with it. When that happens, we then fall short of any effort to change because we're like, I failed.
Wow.
Right? So the goal is how do I get myself to a position where I see that it was a mistake rather than I am a mistake, right?
Gotcha.
Powerful.
Yeah,
That's some powerful stuff.
It's all everything in life is vantage point.
Because you're right, though, because when I stressed out, like if I had a bad day at work, for example, or
Yeah.
family, I'll go to the gym for like 2.5 hours, freaking calisthenics to my way to death.
Yeah.
Handstands, keep falling over, start doing tricks because I feel like I have my power there. I have my control there.
This is huge,
One of
man.
my identities.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
true.
Whew, it's fire,
So
man.
true, man.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Do you-
whoa.
Yeah. Do you want more identities or?
Totally.
Okay.
I mean, this is like part of this podcast is also one as well. I mean, I get so inspired and happy to come by here because I'm also, like Berkay mentioned, is building a new identity.
Wow.
And that makes me feel like you mentioned, it prevents you from falling into that one failure. Says,
Right.
oh, I'm only good at this one thing, and
Yeah.
you fail in it,
Right.
you're hopeless completely.
Yeah.
But the fact that you have multiple slots in your life, I mean, you lose one, you drop the ball on one, you got 10 other, you
Yeah.
know, 10 other ones
Right.
you're
Yeah.
working with. So, dang, I love that, man.
Yeah.
Thank
It's
you
so
for sharing
interesting.
that. That's powerful.
Thank you, man.
It's
I mean,
true. It happens to all of
Social
us.
psychology.
Yeah.
Man.
Damn, that's crazy.
It is. It is. You said something really cool. I'll just kind of
Yeah,
pop
yeah.
on. You said when you don't feel control, you go to a place that you do feel control.
That's good.
I find that to be, we all do that. The issue is, when I say issue, it's not the issue. The problem can be that sometimes we cope or emotionally regulate in places that harm us. For you, the way that you do it is in a way that benefits you, right? You regain control in the gym. That builds your body, that increases reduces your cortisol level, right? Your testosterone goes up, your
Exactly.
cognition becomes more clear.
Feel at
You
peace.
feel just like
Yes.
alive.
Yeah.
While others would go to something else. So sometimes what happens is we emotionally regulate with things that are kind of dangerous for us or not good for us, right? It could be alcohol, it could be drugs, it could be relationships, serial dating. You know what I mean? It could be serial killing.
Yeah. It's
You know,
very real.
it can escalate. It can escalate at a high level. But
Serial dating. That's
Yeah.
something interesting.
yeah.
My gosh.
But the thing is that what we have to find out is how are we coping with those experiences,
Yeah.
right? Because when we experience failure, unconsciously or consciously, we go to places that make us feel strong
yes.
or in
to feel
control, right? And if you can, and so for me, I'm going to just do a quick tangent, but for me, I've been feeling more kind of trepidation as I'm moving to new levels of the work that I do. I feel this kind of fear. And as the fear comes up, well, how do I cope? I'm like, I'm not going to work out today. I got so much that I'm doing.
Wow.
Right? Or I'm going to eat this pizza because I want it. You know what I mean? I'm going
Yeah.
to watch some Rick and Morty. And there's nothing wrong with watching
Yeah,
Rick and Morty.
yeah. I know what you mean.
But you know what I'm saying? And so
Absolutely.
but I'm also noting there's a sense of detachment.
Yes.
I'm detaching from my
Oh my God,
responsibilities.
that's huge.
Dude, it's crazy.
Yes.
I have
Oh my
notes,
God,
like literally, I have
dude.
notes that I wrote after my meditation yesterday.
my God.
I'm like, I'm detaching
Yes.
so that I can't even communicate with my fear. So what I do is I detach and then I communicate with this current of
I deserve
ineptitude.
it.
Well, yeah, not like I deserve it, but like I go dumb.
Yeah.
Like what I call it with my clients, it's like stupid dust. We're just like, okay, I think I'm gonna eat this pizza, and then you wake up, you're like, oh, what happened? Damn it, how'd that happen? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So we're free from the responsibility. But I'm noticing that, and so I think it happens even in failure. You know, or when we don't feel control, or we don't feel strong, or we start to have doubts about our
Yes, the
our
doubts.
abilities and if we're worthy. You know, so emotional regulation is healthy in certain ways, but in a lot of ways we suppress.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, it bubbles up in some other direction, other place.
Yeah.
And so learning how to process that stuff is not easy.
What are the steps in order to get out of unhealthy coping or
Right.
going dumb?
God,
Because
you know what?
I do it all the
That's
time.
so difficult.
I would say level 1 is awareness
Yes.
and everything.
That's true.
So see when you do it. So see when you go stupid. And sometimes what I do is I like this. It's this cheese. It's like this is how crazy I can be because I talk to myself. But it can be like I want a pizza. Before what you do is you don't say anything. You're just like you feel the impulses and you let the impulses tell you what to do and you kind of go there and you just eat the food.
Yes,
And then
exactly.
you wake up and you're like, okay, I got to go work out tomorrow.
Yep.
But it's a cycle. Even the desire to do good afterwards is part of the cycle. So what I do is I go, I want pizza. And I look in the mirror. I want pizza because this is too hard, or you know what I mean? Like I call it out for what it is, and then I say, I'm going to choose to have pizza. Because even the choosing is more empowered than the unconscious reaction to just get it and eat it and wake up.
Yeah.
Because the problem is what we do is we go dumb
Yeah.
long enough to do what we want to do, and then we're not responsible. I'd rather choose to do the wrong thing and have the weight of responsibility because at least I have control.
You know what's interesting? You guys talk about this self-awareness, right? So remember I told you guys like 3 years ago, before my calisthenics journey, before I began, my cousin and my brother, we met one time at the park.
Okay.
And he was like screaming and shouting. He's like, you got to feel your feelings and get what you're feeling, understand your feelings. I'm like looking at him like, why is this guy yelling? Like, what did he mean by feeling your feelings? And we basically did this like kind of like Landmark. You know, Landmark, they go talk about, express your feelings, so on and so. So we had our little Landmark program going on ourselves between the three of us. Right. And a lot of the teachings he taught us were like psychosomatics from various books. Right. The Divided Mind by John Sarno. Right. I told you about that book, right? Yeah. Blew my mind about the subconscious mind, id, ego, superego. But anyways, what I learned from it was the only way that helped me cope with my suppressed feelings was consulting with them.
Consulting with
my brother and my cousin, talking about these feelings, talking about why this is bothering me. And we'd have these consultation calls every Sunday. We just call like literally, all right, guys, conference call. We'd call in, start talking about how our weekend was, how our day was, what's been bothering us. And you know what's crazy? It sounds cheesy, but after the conference calls, all of us would feel way better because we were expressing ourselves, our feelings, all of our insecurities and stuff. We were expressing ourselves, and we just felt more self-aware.
You know what though?
Yeah,
that's cheesy.
Yeah, I know.
That's so cheesy.
I know, but still,
like
it works.
What? Expressing your feelings amongst guys?
It works,
dude. What's so interesting? That reaction, is what kills our ability to grow.
100%.
Wow.
I just had to give it. I wanted to express it. I wanted people to visibly or viscerally experience it.
They think that sucks for them.
It does. Because the thing is, we really. So what happens is we just we close this wall. To expressing ourselves.
That's true.
But I've had it happen twice in literally less than 24 hours, where people were able to vent and express themselves, and I'm like, how do you feel? So much better.
Exactly.
There's huge power in that. We have to get these feelings off of us. Bro, it's basic arithmetic in humans. We are basic arithmetic. We try to be complex. We try to be like dealing with like, freaking signs and all this different stuff. And we try so hard to make it like calculus and beyond. Dude, we are 1 + 1 minus 1 max times 1. And that experience, I'm hurt, you hurt me, I hurt you. Guy honks at me, I honk at you. You cut me off, you do it because you know what I mean? Like, we just go to dumb. Humans are stupid. We're stupid. And the moment that we realize that, we begin to become smart.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the truth.
Wow.
So if I'm looking at people and I'm like, I don't know, and just because I can articulate it doesn't make me more smart.
Exactly.
I'm not less stupid. I can articulate it, but I'm still a victim of the insanity that is the frontal cortex.
Yeah.
That is so new to our evolution. Right?
Yeah.
This new guy is on but the hind has been there in the back, and id and all that stuff has been doing it for, millions, trillions of years, and all of a sudden the frontal cortex is like, rational.
You are stupid.
Why is it that we see it from the outside perspective, but not in ourselves?
Because the easiest way to, once again, cope with it is to not deal with it. And so what we do is we put it on other people.
Damn.
That's just the sadness of it. I'm not going to change. I have cognitive dissonance. I have cognitive dissonance when I'm supposed to be this way, but I'm doing this, and they're dissonant. They're disharmony.
Yeah.
Right? So the ways to attack cognitive dissonance is to change myself. Shit, that's hard.
Yeah. It
right?
really is.
But if I could judge others with it, that gives me a sense of righteousness or justification. Right? I take the anger that's on myself and I give it to you, and then
wow.
I release myself a little bit.
Gosh.
Right?
Damn, that's crazy. Sounds like we're so selfish.
We are. We are survivors, brother.
Jesus.
We're surviving, and we don't have tools on how to survive, how to thrive. We're survivors, and we don't have tools on how to thrive. And so what we do is chaos, my man.
Because that's all we're good at.
Do you think, so us, let me see if this is going to make sense coming out of my mouth. If us judging others, do you think that's a signal to us that that's what's wrong with us? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can simplify it as just saying yes, because it's kind of like a more proverbial type of thing. But I would say, let me take a step back. Us judging, I'll say this. I won't say that it's a direct reflection of what we have in ourselves. It's not a mirror.
Okay.
But I will say that it tells us about something within ourselves, because by us to make a judgment is some space of self-righteousness, right? And self-righteousness is the exaggerated attempt to not feel bad for ourselves, right? If I'm self-righteous, then I'm fighting too hard to be better than you. If I was just righteous, I wouldn't talk about it.
Exactly.
Because it's just between me and God or whatever. But I feel like we condemn others to reduce our own condemnation on ourselves.
Wow.
I'm making sure that I believe this. We condemn others to reduce our own condemnation on ourselves. Yes. At very least, let's say it's not an energy transfer, it could be a diversion. So for example, something's happening, that the US is doing something super shady, but we're like, hey, look at this chipmunk on a jet ski. You know what I mean? Like we'll divert, at very least we'll divert attention, or we'll transmute the experience of judgment on ourselves through other people. I don't know how it can be that complex, but it can be as stupid as, let's just change the subject. You're an asshole, right?
Yeah.
It's easier. I'll just call you.
I'm an asshole?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Is this new
information? Is this new for
Podcast 1, didn't we mention
I love it. You're a selfish bastard. Ali, you're so taken back by it right now, man. What's going on in your head?
I'm just thinking about it. Like, we literally, most of us, I'm trying to think about, like, when I make fun of people, like.
Yeah.
I don't.
Ooh, this is good.
I'll make fun of, I'll be honest. I've made fun of people. We all do. Come on. It's just we do that. But I've made fun of people.
Take responsibility for yourself.
Don't pluralize.
I don't make fun of people.
Don't pluralize.
You make fun of people, you asshole.
Don't pluralize it here, sir.
I'm an asshole too, okay? God dang it, I'm an asshole.
We kill people. We all kill people, right?
When I like make fun of somebody, right? Like, say they walk in somewhere and I see them like wearing something.
Yeah, like a maroon button up with a tank top underneath.
Okay, there you go.
So descriptive.
So like, let me think of someone like someone overweight.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I see someone overweight and they're walking in, I'm like, God, like how could you let yourself go like? Am I doing that simply because I'm comparing myself to them?
This is great.
Am I doing that because I think they suck?
Right.
Am I doing that because it's a threat to me?
Right.
Why am I making fun of that person?
Yeah.
What does it say about you when you say that about them?
Because I look at myself like, I eat healthy, I exercise.
So you're getting constant validations by making that insult towards them.
Okay.
Because you're saying you're not. And really, when I say you're not, I'm really saying I am, right? What I'm really doing is I am. Right? You're massaging yourself, your own ego, right? When I say you, we all do it all the time in different ways. But what happens is we are taking from them to get, right? By our taking, we get. Because the more wrong you are, the more right I am. And again, and I said it every damn podcast, we don't want to be wrong.
Exactly.
And the thing is, fundamentally, we think we're wrong. So we have this consuming black hole of how wrong or not enough we are. And we gotta feed that shit all the time by attacking as many other people as we possibly can, right? By looking for as many ways to feel good about ourselves and validate ourselves. Because it's been set perfect. I mean, it's capitalism on our own souls, right?
Conditioned capitalism.
Hey, consumer.
You said by
I don't even remember what I said.
Taking from others, we are giving to us, or
Yes.
by what?
We'll say that.
So
I
we're
like
just
that.
trying to steal everyone's energy, basically.
Well,
By validating ourselves, per se. It's like, you suck, I'm awesome, screw you, done.
Right. Because you're not going to talk to them. Let's say that
No,
person's
yeah.
amazing an incredible mathematician, and you suck at math. You're going to be like, you fatty. You know what I mean? You're going to work it to get what you need, to get your hit, right? We are going to work it to get what we need to get our hit.
How do you avoid that conditioned mind that always throws that negative crap at your face?
Right.
I can't stand that.
Well, I'm actually going through it right now, so I think I'll
you feel
chime
me?
in.
You see me?
Kind of like what Ricky said earlier, just being aware of it. And dude, the hardest thing for me is, I know I say it all the time, I want to be a student. I'm a student all the time. Dude, that is so fucking difficult. It's so difficult to like push your guard down and be like, I don't know shit. I don't know fucking shit.
Right.
It's like, that's super difficult. Like, we say it all the time. We're like, yeah, I want to be a student. Yeah, I don't know shit.
Yeah, right.
I'm stupid. But it's like, when I'm in the moment, I'm just like, I know everything. You're, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, all I had to do was just like, whoa, this is seriously something wrong with me.
Yeah.
And that's the most difficult fucking thing to say.
Right.
Is saying there's something wrong with me.
Right.
Yeah.
I've nothing in my life is ever more difficult than me saying that.
Yeah.
Oh, it comes back to that. We're afraid of being wrong.
Yeah.
Even if being wrong harms us. Like, no, even if
Yeah.
being right harms us. What's interesting is the reason that the reason that we fight to push people down is to get up. You know, imagine getting out of a pool.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you get out of a pool, not on the ladder, you got to push down in order to get up. That's just the mindset. That's where people are at. They got to push down to get up. That's all they know.
Yeah.
That's all they know. So it's natural. It makes sense. The math makes sense, right? But at the end, the cost is great. At the end, there's no evolution. There's no opportunity to grow. So you have to be mindful. Just like you said, you have to become aware and just start to notice, like, damn, why did I say that?
Yeah.
Why did I say that? Okay, nobody cares. I can get
Yeah,
away with
exactly.
it, but I notice it,
Exactly.
and I don't want to be that. You know, there's a scripture that says, "With the same measure that you pour out on others, it will be poured on yourself." To the measure that you judge another, you too judge yourself.
But you're subconsciously doing it. It's not like you're consciously doing it. So be more conscious of what you're subconsciously thinking, basically.
Yes, I would say this: you're consciously doing it because of a subconscious experience.
Okay.
Okay, your job is to notice the
subconscious.
conscious experience.
Got it.
You notice what happened. Like if I slap you, there's probably an internal reason why I did it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But we can at least say, okay, well, he swung with his right hand. You know what I mean? Like you can at least, there's something that's visible that you can experience. So the subconscious stuff may be too deep, but what you can do is work on what happened. Like why am I'm doing this? Let me just notice it. Oh, I said that. Why did I say that? Oh, it made me feel good. It made me feel good, right? And why do I need to feel good?
Interesting.
Right, goes back to our first podcast.
Why do we feel good?
Why do I need to help this person? I need you to understand what I'm telling you,
Life is beautiful.
right? No, they're not there. And what if they don't agree with it, or what if they don't see what you see? Does that mean you lost? And if you lost, what did you lose? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Fuck.
Yeah, we're going two down, but
Yeah.
we'll bring it up a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But this is this human nature, man. You know, we want to be first. We want to be right. We don't want to be wrong. We want to be special. We want to be unique. Half of it's culture. Half of it's, I think it's just our nature. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But what we do is we dance with it. 'Cause some people are like, no, get rid of ego and nirvana and all that stuff. The end of all desire. Yeah, that's great. But we're here. Let's dance with it. And so as we dance with it, we're like, okay, I need a new dance partner now. It's like time for me to evolution up. You know what I mean? And so I don't feel that there's an evilness in it. I just feel that if we're constantly aware with the desire to be better, we're good.
I think with the dance of failure, man.
Yeah, maybe some final thoughts, huh?
Yeah. Some final thoughts.
I would say my biggest takeaway, Burke, is
Right.
yet again, is understanding to have multiple identities
Right.
Oh, that's huge.
with different avenues in my life, different endeavors,
Right.
rather than solidifying it under one scope of having one definite thing to do. And if I
Right.
fail in that, all hope is lost.
Right.
So diversifying my identities
Yeah.
in different avenues and skills will give me the confidence. If I face failure, I'm well prepared for that, and I'll be able to move on with with other endeavors out there. Versus, oh man, guys, I'm done. It's over. I'm gonna go back in my nest and I'm finished.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
think that's probably my biggest takeaway is really working on that and kind of seeing how it's actually worked in my life too, like with the calisthenics and my work and the podcast and how I have these identities. It's
Yeah.
freaking awesome. I love it
Right.
because it's given me that comfort that if I am facing failure, I mean, I got this other guy here who's doing these amazing things here. He can freaking jump on the wall, be a Tarzan on the monkey bars, doing calisthenics, but if he can handle that, he can handle this.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool, man. That's
That's-
kind of giving more clarity,
It's good, man.
per se.
Right.
Clarity is huge.
I'm going to second on Ali. I think the multiple identities is a huge thing. The more that you can see yourself as more than one thing, right? The more empowered you are to handle failure and cope with certain emotions, right?
Yeah.
And I think it also, unconsciously, it'll create it so as you are less likely to make judgments of other people. Because if I see someone who doesn't have the same skill set as I do, it won't be my number one motive to destroy them to feel good about my skill set because I know I have other skill sets.
Correct.
Right? So the more that I know that I am multiple things, the less I need to prove that I'm one thing.
So it's going to be pretty short. So my biggest thing with coping is understand that you're a human being. If you ever go through something that's tough, or if you ever notice something that's wrong with you and you need to cope with that, just understand that you're a human being. Understand that there's going to be things that are wrong with you. There's things not wrong. There's things that you need to improve on. And the most important thing is be mindful of those. Always be open to tell yourself that there's a lot of things that you need to improve on. You might think, you're good at everything, but really you're not. Be mindful, be human. Once you do that, you'll learn how to cope effectively. Thank you guys for watching episode 5 of the Let's Talk About Life podcast. Today we talked about coping. Appreciate you for being here, Briquet. Appreciate you for being here, Ollie. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time.